Thanks guys, thanks for coming along. I thought I might just kind of get started just to sort of get a feel for the room and who's here. First of all, who's lost money on FTX over the last couple of weeks? Yeah? Okay, not a great start. Who's been in this space since 2017 and you've kind of felt this pain before? Yeah, okay, that's good. That's a good turnout. Who's been to an event in Decentraland before? Checked it out? Okay, awesome, awesome. And what was the last one I was going to say? Who's bought or collected a music NFT? Awesome. Okay, I'm actually surprised. That's good numbers. Look, well, I think you guys know, especially those that have been here before, that it feels bad at the moment, right? But we're still going to make it. We're going to get through this, and it's the best time to get things done and get things built. So I'm here to talk about what I call the digital music rebirth. And I call it the rebirth of digital music because I believe that digital music was actually born prematurely into the world at a time where we weren't actually ready to handle it. We didn't have the means for appropriate distribution and monetization and for it to actually make an impact on the world. And over the last few decades, we've made progress recovering from this, but there's still a long way to go. So a little bit about me. I'm on Twitter. That's the best place to get in touch with me if you ever want to send me a DM or anything like that. Try to avoid places like Telegram these days. It's all just too much. So follow me on Twitter. I'll be there. I'm the co-founder of Emanate and one of the launch partners and founding partners of MODA DAO. I've been in the blockchain music space for 5 years, since 2017, getting started on this stuff, and before that worked in digital media and production and technology for about 10 years. Always just kind of working early on tech as it's starting to break into the mainstream, so working on augmented reality apps within the advertising industry in 2010, VR apps in 2014, and once I sort of started to peek down the crypto blockchain rabbit hole in 2017, I couldn't look away. And started to combine my real passion, which was music, with the technology, and here we are. So Emanate launched in 2019. We've got about 20,000 users now. About 2,500 of them are artists uploading music to the platform. It pays people in real time. You can connect NFTs. We've also sold a lot of NFTs for artists like Deadmau5 and Weezer, over 240,000 different NFTs. And through MODA, have started to crack open this idea of what it means to have a DAO within the music industry. So now's the time that I've never been more excited to be working on this stuff, and I think it's the most exciting time for artists that are brave enough and innovative enough to step into the Web3 world and help kind of push their music forward in new ways. And admittedly it was a little bit more exciting maybe 12 months ago, but once we recover from this crash, we're going to keep building and really great things are going to come from it. So a brief history of the music industry without going too deep. All of these different innovations that have come along over the last few decades have brought the listeners more convenience, more access to music, easier to skip tracks, easier to build playlists. Essentially, everything's been really focused on convenience and access, and we've gotten to a point now with Spotify and similar streaming services that it can't possibly be any easier to access and stream all of the music in the world. And that doesn't mean that the innovation is over. Innovation is always going to find a path forward, and generally it will find a path forward that's, because it can't get any easier and faster to access, it's going to find a path that rewards the players in the ecosystem in a different way. And so what we're looking at now is a way for the artists and the fans to be able to be more rewarded from their music consumption experiences. And that's where we start to step into the blockchain world. So a brief kind of history of blockchain music. I think the first thing that popped up in 2016 was MusicCoin. There might have been some really experimental things before then. And platforms like Yujo, which had NFTs back in 2017, believe it or not, music NFTs, and Tune. And a few of these platforms are starting to die out, and that's because we're learning, and there's just kind of so much to be discovered and so many different approaches to this Web3 music landscape that can be tested out. So, what we're talking about is essentially the next iteration of the music industry, and it doesn't mean that the whole music industry is going to come flooding onto any of these platforms, but what I do truly believe is that Web3 technology will find its way into the music industry in a really mainstream way, And it's just a question of how much is going to fall into the favor of the artists and the independent creators, or how much it's just going to become a piece of the tech stack within the existing platforms that we know. But this stuff is really important, and I think the main reason that it's important for musicians and fans alike is that for the first time ever we have a simultaneous value exchange between listening to a piece of music or purchasing a piece of music and the artist being rewarded. So fans have always been rewarded through the joy of just listening to music, but at times there's been actually no path back to the artist in terms of the value flowing back. Over the last few decades we've brought some of that back in terms of streaming actually paying artists and different ways to collect royalties, but all of those things can take a month or 3 months or even years to get the money through to the artists. This is the first time that a musician can actually be rewarded at exactly the same time as you enjoying the music, and I don't think that should be underplayed. Our own platform, Emanate, launched its beta version this year. Enables you to do a bunch of cool things. I'll just quickly play this video to give you a feel for it. So Emanate, as it stands today, gives artists access to a direct platform where they can upload their music, similar to SoundCloud. Except what happens is when your music gets played, the artist gets paid straight away using micropayments on-chain, and those payments can, of course, be split between everybody that was involved in the creation of a piece of music. With Beta, we launched multi-chain NFTs, so as an artist, if you have music NFTs that are available, they can be connected to your songs on the platform, and they can be discovered in new ways through sort of genre filters and playlists and sessions and things like that that sort of give the collectors or the listeners a Spotify-type experience, but with music NFTs connected in. For the first time ever, artists have been able to create gated NFT releases, so you can sell, say, 100 copies of an album and connect that to your Emanate profile, and only the owners of that NFT can actually consume the music if that's something that you want to offer as an artist. We also do distribution, so we do push music out to other platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and it's our belief that eventually that whole ecosystem is going to move into the Web3 world. And we've been lucky enough to keep getting our native apps approved by Apple, despite the sort of questions that have been arising around NFTs and what NFTs can do within a native app. We've had to fight them a fair bit, but you can connect music NFTs within that native app, and I think it's one of the only ways that you can really stream music NFTs from a native app at the moment. You can actually cache them and listen to them offline and things like that as well. Up next, we're looking to introduce more social features, being able to kind of comment on tracks, interact directly with artists through peer-to-peer messaging, going deeper into on-chain distribution, like paying royalties and streaming payments directly into an NFT, and doing sales on platform. And looking forward, it's our belief that artists are going to be minting NFTs and embracing all sorts of different blockchain ecosystems in the future, not just Ethereum and Polygon like we support at the moment, but a lot of different chains, whether they're different scaling solutions or layer 1 chains and other technology solutions that don't even exist yet. But it's really unrealistic for fans to come along and have to juggle like 8 to 10 different crypto wallets just to be able to collect the music that they love. So that's why we're focused on creating this kind of chain aggregator and this multi-chain future where people can just come and collect music from an app, enjoy it as if they were on Spotify, but ultimately they're holding some assets that do have some value that could sit on any of these different chains. And I think as we move into the next kind of cycle of NFTs and crypto, you'll see a lot of things like that happening where the focus is on usability and able to bring customers on the journey to essentially make the process of consuming music and collecting music NFTs just as enjoyable as streaming it on Spotify. So MODA DAO is a Web3 music community that we launched last year, dedicated towards the adoption of Web3 technology within music. We've created an on-chain fingerprinting system that is able to identify the source of a piece of music and help collectors know that it's authentic. We've created a 3-tier music NFT system with different levels of scarcity so that artists can release a version of their song really early, release promo copies before they come out, and then eventually release open editions that are easy to access, cheap to claim or even free to give away as part of the main sort of release. And we've also built a dedicated nightlife spot within Decentraland that we've held 3 or 4 different events within now, most recently as part of the Metaverse Music Festival in Decentraland. And enabling artists like Soiree, who's performing at our closing party on Thursday night at Lux, to sell music NFTs to their fans, but also deliver to a global community inside of the virtual club. There's a new piece of functionality coming out soon that brings these audio fingerprints to life through an animated visualizer of the sonic kind of information that exists within a song. And this is basically a HTML JavaScript audio fingerprint that's linked to the NFT that collectors can purchase. So what that NFT does is takes the sort of data that would usually be used by something like Shazam or Grace Note that identifies the fingerprint of a song, and it's actually put on-chain and made collectible. We launched MODA at NFT NYC last year and integrated some of those visuals with the artists who performed. So this is an Australian producer and DJ named Brux, and one of her tracks was available to claim at the party in New York, and was also integrated with the visuals in her show. So you can start to see how some of these music collectibles can be made meaningful by being integrated with the experience that you as a fan get to participate in at a concert or within a virtual space such as our Metaverse nightclub Verse. Jumping in there, you can see how the visuals can be integrated with the virtual experience, somewhere that anyone in the world can come and participate. And I hope you guys aren't getting too much video fatigue because of the small screen here, but I'm just going to play a couple of minutes of footage from our Metaverse party within the Metaverse Music Festival last week. And we were lucky enough to have DJ Sasha headlining that, and I'll just let that play for a little bit. So this front room within Verse is a space that's going to be made available 24/7 for MODA DAO community members to book the DJ booth and host their own parties. We're creating a CMS system, so you'll be able to actually come in, upload your set, upload your visuals, connect your NFTs, and invite your community to participate. And then this main room within the club is designed for like bigger headline artists and ticketed shows that we can eventually use as a revenue stream to keep the DAO sustainable over time. And it's a little bit of fun, and it's not designed to replace the real world experience. It's designed to enhance the digital experience, instead of just sharing tracks in Discord or on social media, you can actually enjoy them in a space with your friends. At the moment it's a fairly passive experience. At the moment it's a fairly passive experience within Decentraland. You can chat with your friends and do some automated dance moves and things like that, but you're just looking at it through your screen. But Decentraland does have virtual reality support coming soon and mobile support coming soon. We have other partners like Subpack who make these interesting hardware solutions where you can feel bass through your body, through the seat that you're sitting in. And yeah, we believe that over time, it's already quite entertaining to attend one of these events, but over time, that immersiveness is going to get better, the processing power of the computers is going to get better, and as something that kind of augments your digital music experience, it's getting really, really interesting. So all of this really, in terms of Web3 music and the rebirth of digital music, I believe that it's more than just an industry iteration. It's actually like a really big breakthrough, because it's the first time that artists and fans are truly connected on platforms like Instagram and Spotify and all of the others. It's like you can see how many listeners you've got, you can see how many followers you've got. You might have a bit of high-level information around whereabouts in the world they are, but you don't have a true, authentic connection to them. And the reason that those big platforms keep the artists and fans at a distance is because the monetization of their platform exists in the place in between through the sale of that data. So if I'm an up-and-coming artist and I want to try and push my music on Instagram to people who like deadmau5 because my music is similar, then I need to pay Instagram to get my content in front of deadmau5's audience. And I think you're going to start to see that changing through things like music NFTs that enable artists to have that direct relationship with their fans. So, and now you can actually gift music again. You can trade it if that's your thing. And certainly you can buy copies of music that rewards artists in the same sort of way that you could previously with physical copies. But the user experience is starting to improve so that it's as easy to enjoy as Spotify, but with some of those other benefits. So why do I think we need music NFTs in the Web3 space? Well, digital art kind of blew the NFT world open over the last couple of years, which has been incredible. But if you look at the percentage of the population that purchase art as a whole, it's actually really, really low. And it's not something that you do on a weekly basis or a monthly basis or even yearly, right? You might buy a few key pieces throughout your lifetime. Whereas music is something that, historically, we've spent money on every single month supporting the artists, and the propensity for people to continue to do that is there, and collecting music is familiar to us. Another big thing is that we all know, or at least those that have had a good look at the music industry know, that music is incredibly undervalued. And just to illustrate how undervalued it is, in the US alone, the entire US recorded music industry did less revenue than McDonald's in 2021. So one fast food outlet generated more revenue than all of the recorded music in the United States. So not only is that terrifying, it tells you that there's value that's not being captured one way or another. So what's happening is there's a mindset shift between the artists and the collectors. The Web2 world, as much as it's given us the ease of releasing music and getting it out to heaps of people, it's actually resulted in the quality of music and the way that music's produced kind of declining. So we're chasing, from a marketing and media point of view, you're chasing streams, you're chasing likes, you're chasing followers, because those are the numbers that people have been looking at. And in terms of the music itself, you've got people putting heavy drops really early in a song so that people don't skip it, and TikTok-worthy samples that might make an interesting viral video and so forth. Artists are releasing music way more often than they want to. They've always got to stay in the playlist. They've always got to stay in that release radar rather than just crafting an album that's going to stand the test of time. And that's resulting in high turnover music. And I think that era is nearly over. So as we look into Web3, the artists that are doing well with Web3 music releases are really thoroughly engaging their community. They're really telling the story of their work. They're bringing their fans along that journey with them and creating an emotional connection. And the music itself is resulting in stuff that's more, has more artistic integrity, more creative expression, and has more longevity to it. So, it's a really positive shift in terms of how artists can interact with their fans. So we're talking about a technology shift that makes music more collectible than it was when it was physical. And that's because it's not going to get dusty or moldy or lost or scratched along the way. More per copy revenue than digital downloads. We're used to paying $1.99 to download a track back when that was a thing within the iTunes walled garden. But I think you're going to pay more than $1.99 for a copy of a song, because it's something that you can trade and integrate with the game, and you might be able to stake it on some platform and earn the latest altcoin that's come out. There's all sorts of different things that you can do with it. And the convenience of streaming is almost there. We're really trying to push the limits with what we do with MODA and Emanate. And I know that there's going to be fantastic things to come. And there's also this new energy associated with it, and you know, the music industry as a whole is in need of new things all the time to engage new people and engage new generations. And with the crypto aspect, we may have found that. So what comes next? I think over the next 1 to 5 years, it's really a golden age for music creators, because streaming revenue is increasing anyway. All of this music NFT sales and metaverse revenue and everything else is on top of a streaming pie that's already increasing. Goldman Sachs predict it to increase tenfold by 2030. So we've got this new direct revenue streams coming through. Digital merch as a new revenue stream, and other kind of Web3 collaborations with digital artists and so forth. Now that we hopefully have seen the back of COVID, we've got live music back, we've got that revenue stream back, but off the back of it, we've actually been given the gift of virtual performance. So to go back to the title of this talk, it's about the rebirth of digital music in a golden age that I believe is being unlocked. And as we look even further forward, I think you're going to start to see automation within the blockchain world, automated remix contracts, automated stem recognition, perhaps using some of the technology that we've developed with MODA, crowdsourced data around where the music's being performed. You know, we know that Apple bought Shazam. I think there's a really important reason why they did that. NFT-based watermarking could be a thing, and what we're starting to tap into with MODA's Decentraland nightclub is that there's definitely space for these kind of virtual and real-life music events where it's kind of a hybrid. You know, if you can't make it to the club or the festival, you can catch it online in a 3D environment. We could start to see ultra-scarce music releases where if you're a big-name DJ and you're handed a song that is not going to be released for another year, maybe before your set you have to sign a transaction or something to prove that you actually own that song. And yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that selling an NFT to your fans is going to become the main way for distributing a song, rather than going through a third party just to push it out to these other platforms. So that's all I've got through for you. Make music yours. If you loved the visuals in the background of the deck, they're from Australian artist Taka Perry. We helped push those out through Mint Songs when it was a platform. Rest in peace Mint Songs, but it's available on OpenSea still, and you can stream it on emanate.live. Don't know if we've got time for questions, but feel free to chat to me. Oh, and don't forget the MODA DAO after party on Thursday at Lux. And I remembered I did include a video from our New York launch party. I can't promise the party at Lux is going to be as big as this, but it will be good. We've got awesome DJs lined up for you. So have a little sneak peek, and yeah, I'll see you guys around.
We got paid. Have you any questions?
Video might not be playing. Let's go to questions. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. That was really insightful. My question is, are we at a point where the NFT can attribute royalties back to an artist the more times it's played? Because like if I think about streaming, where an artist gets paid every time it's streamed, like consumption-based, how do you see that sort of working?
I think where we are at the moment, it's those two things put together, right? So there's a really well-established system for getting streaming royalties back into the hands of the right people. It's not a great system. Like there's all sorts of different agencies around the world that need to work together. It takes a long time for the revenue to flow. Lots of people take a cut. I do think that's where it's headed. Certainly that's what we envisaged in the early days with Emanate. When we launched our alpha version in September 2019, we started recording every single millisecond that had been consumed on-chain, and we've actually been doing that 24/7 since then. It's all there, every single millisecond that's been consumed through Emanate, but that doesn't mean we've got every millisecond that's been consumed through Spotify and Tidal and Apple Music and everything else. So certainly blockchain technology will take us there. And it might just be something that's subtly integrated by the platforms in order to improve transparency and visibility. Maybe it'll be through an aggressive like Web3 startup that manages to kind of crack that code. So I think it's like undoubtable that it will be there, but it's definitely not there yet. Thanks. No worries. Any other questions?
It's not a question, but great presentation. It was a great insight into music.
Thank you.
And yeah, well done. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Cool. All right. Well, I hope everyone can make the party at Lux on Thursday night once everything wraps up here. And yeah, come and grab me if you want to say hi.
Sure.